Really such an odd, eerie feeling.
It's so unreal that Mother Nature can do what she can do in a matter of seconds. It's a scary thing.
To look around and see the town that I grew up in, to see it torn and ripped to pieces was just heartbreaking. You know, you think, oh my gosh, how will we ever come back from this?
You know that look? That symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Do not receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow, eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Tell your doctor about your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. So give that just saw a puppy look. And whatever that look is, look like you with fewer lines. See results at BotoxCosmetic.com.
These Bombas Merino wool socks really are the best damn merinos ever.
Did you say Dan Marino?
No, Steve. I'm talking about my super soft Bombas Merino wool socks. They're the best damn merinos.
It really sounds like you're saying
Dan Marino? Hi, I'm Dan Marino, and these are an incredibly comfortable pair of Bombas Merino wool socks. Some might say they're the best damn merinos. Not to be confused with me, the best Dan Marino.
Swifty's the name. You're looking at the next lead dog for the Arctic Blast delivery service. And the one that shoot!
Swifty?
I think I'm pulling uphill. Are we uphill?
No promotion for you this year. I run serious business.
You are a small Arctic fox who was not meant to pull a giant sled with packages on it.
The only thing I'll be remembered for now is not being memorable. Like that other guy.
What guy?
Exactly. So, who's gonna be a good boy? Who's gonna be top down?
Hey, Swifty. Please deliver this package for me.
Are you sure about this?
What's the worst that could happen?
Are you crazy?
Crazy like a fox. On November 1st, Jeremy Renner, Heidi Klum, James Franco, John Cleese, Omar Sy, Michael Madsen, Laurie Holden, with Angelica Houston and Alec Baldwin.
Who's with me? What could possibly go wrong?
Incoming!
Oh, I'm blind. I'm blind. Oh, I'm not blind. Arctic Dogs. Rated PG in theaters November 1st.
We were nowhere near prepared for what we witnessed.
Oh my God!
It was very evident very quickly that this was the big one.
How can weather be that destructive in just a matter of seconds?
Storm Stories, the next chapter. All new episodes Sunday nights at 8 on the Weather Channel.
Mama, Mama.
Why do I keep falling asleep during the day? What's making me so tired? I kept asking myself these questions. It felt like I was more than tired. Then I was diagnosed with narcolepsy. There are 5 major symptoms. I waited too long to take action, but you don't have to. Visit morethantired.com now. Take the narcolepsy symptom screener and find a sleep specialist to share your results. Don't wait. Visit morethantired.com today.
We got one of those new purple mattresses, and it is amazing. You have to try it.
Oh, this doesn't feel like memory foam.
No.
This feels amazing.
Right?
What is it?
Actually, it's called Purple, and it's a completely unique comfort technology, meticulously designed to cradle and support the human body.
Cool.
For a limited time, choose a free Purple product with mattress purchase at purple.com/TV.
a mile-wide EF3 tornado decimates the small town of West Liberty, Kentucky, in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains on Friday, March 2nd, 2012. 81-year-old Dr. Clifford Smith Sr. was caught up in the tornado while on the second floor of his clinic. His injuries initially didn't seem serious, but now he's in critical condition.
My father's getting worse. We signed to have hospice come in. Said he's not going to be around long. I spent maybe 30 minutes with him. It's one of those times when you tell your father things that you wish you told him a long time ago. He was a fantastic man.
The elder Dr. Smith is the 6th confirmed death in the county caused by the tornado. Another 75 people have been taken to nearby hospitals.
It was the deadliest tornado outbreak in Kentucky since the super outbreak in 1974.
And that death total could have been far worse without the online warnings from Chris Bailey and other weather bloggers.
I've had a lot of people that say, hey, look, you kind of helped us make the determination that we needed to go to our basement. If I kept one person from getting harmed that day, then everything I did was worth it.
As the people of West Liberty begin to survey the damage, they don't get a chance to catch their breath.
On Sunday night, 6 inches of snow fell on top of the rubble and the debris, and people that are trying to put their lives back together.
What the wind and what the tornado didn't destroy, the rain and the snow did.
You have people that are in winter coats that are going through what is left of their home, trying to salvage something. It was like Mother Nature just added insult to injury.
Now back on the air at WKYT, Chris heads to his hometown to cover the aftermath of the tornado and snowstorm.
And Chris, I know this has got to be so difficult to look at.
Yeah, it's really hard to picture this area being as hard hit as it is. Obviously, coming back today and seeing the devastation firsthand, it is truly incredible. It's something you can't grasp through the lens of a camera, and until you're actually on site, that's when it really hits close to home. And for me, obviously hitting close to home for a number of reasons.
You don't really know how strong you are until you're tested. The city was tested like no other on March 2nd.
We united as one. Can't keep country folks down.
A crisis response team called God's Pit Crew soon arrives in West Liberty.
West Liberty Elementary is destroyed by that tornado. They had to find another school to fit these kids in to finish the school year.
25 members of God's Pit Crew, along with 100 more volunteers, spring into action.
We had our little factory that had gone out. They took that building and made the elementary school, no problem.
Classes resume just 1 week after the tornado, while Dr. Clifford Smith II begins to rebuild the clinic his father founded.
We reopened the clinic 6 weeks later, and everyone that comes in, they're amazed. We're still there. We survived.
Joanne and Jimmy Henry rebuild as well.
We loved that house. We didn't know where else we would rather be, so we built back on the same lot.
All of West Liberty seems to share that same spirit.
They said, we're going to build this back up.
I think that with time, we will grow even bigger. We'll come back bigger and better.
There's one more significant permanent change to West Liberty.
March 2nd of 2012 was a game changer for West Liberty because now there's no more, it can't happen here. Tornadoes, they don't care what the terrain is. They're going to form.
It's amazing how now that when these weather warning things come on, you pay attention. You listen to every single word that they say.
Since the tornado, I keep alerts on my phone. I watch the weather daily, and my outlook on life is completely different. I live each day as if it's going to be my last.
When you go through a storm like that, it makes you really appreciate life more. I'm just taking it one day at a time, counting our blessings.
It's rocking and rolling out there. We have a Cat 5 knocking on the door.
harsh. We're getting closer to the eye, but it is howling. You cannot go out. You cannot open the door. Fitz, maybe I was wrong.
All right, that is my flight, and hopefully they're leaving in about 2 hours, so we'll see. I'm on the plane to go to Marsh Harbor, and there are 5 people on this plane. And the guy across from me is John Olner. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to work this. Am I going to go up the coast to Abaco or what? Well, he is going to secure his boat. He's got a ferry that's going to take him. They've shut down the day before, but he's got some people on the ground there. So I'm going to go to Hopetown, and he's going to be my ride over there.
I had chartered a boat to get me over to the island from Marsh Harbor to Hopetown, and I offered Jim a ride over. Then I said, well, where are you going to stay, Jim? He said, well, I'm going to stay at the lodge. I said, Jim, the lodge is down. So go talk to the marina manager, and he wound up getting a room which was destined for me to stay in the Hopetown Inner Marina.
Hopetown, Bahamas is about 3 miles east of Marsh Harbor. You take a nice ferry ride, and you go over there, and you go into a little cove, and they've got their own working lighthouse. They've got cottages. The houses have the old pastel with real storm shutters. It just felt like, you're in an old sea town in the Caribbean.
Jim and I actually complement each other quite well. I depended on Jim to provide me the knowledge about storms and weather.
I'm a cameraman. I go out and film tropical storms, typhoons, and hurricanes. In the U.S., I filmed probably well over 50 hurricanes and tropical storms.
First thing I did is I had contacted a friend of mine, Eric, to help me secure the boat. The boat name is Tenacious. The kids named it after me. It was my character.
I knew that if the conditions changed like they said they were going to, that it could get strong. I had no idea that we're going to be looking at 185 sustained. Because I've never been in that kind of wind.
As we were preparing, Jim was saying, well, the barometer is not falling, it's crashing. And I said, well, what does that mean to you? And he says, it means it's coming. And it's going to be big, it's going to intensify.
Wow, it's starting to roar now.
And so it's a top-end storm. It's your worst-case scenario.
I promised my wife if the winds were over 130 miles an hour, I would abandon staying on the boat, which had been my practice. This was the first hurricane in 14 that Missy has not been on the boat with me. So to keep that promise, I moved ashore.
The wind's picking up, and hurricanes are all about the wind because the wind does everything. It pushes the water comes up. So as the wind comes up, the water comes up. We're in a protected cove, but the water still came up. And as the water was coming up, I would get out there, maybe even to my knees, and film, but that's about as far as I want to go because you got the wind and it could blow you off the dock, and then you have to swim back and something could hit you. And so I filmed as much as I was comfortable with.
As it started, we actually went outside in probably 100-mile-an-hour type winds. And I could see Tenacious bucking and fighting pretty good, and so I felt actually pretty good about that. Then it just seems like somebody opened the door and the winds intensified. Then you started seeing debris flying across the harbor. when I said, I got to get back inside, for my own safety.
Worst part of the storm, the strongest winds. I open the door up, I stick the GoPro out, and it's just raging outside. But it was a real battle with the wind blowing across the door. You get these little vortices, and you hear this roaring sound. Sound unlike any I've ever heard before. This was a scary sound, and the pressure in my ears was just rattling me, and I really was afraid. I'm at the mercy of the storm. It's rocking and rolling out there. Hopetown. Whoa, 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 whoa.
I remember looking up and seeing the ceiling fan that was in our room swinging side to side. I got very concerned. I turned to Jim and I said, Jim, what is plan B? And Jim told me, grab those 2 mattresses and we'll get under them, because at that point in time, I really thought the building was going to be blown away.
5 feet at the lighthouse?
No, in a house.
Oh, okay. 5 feet of water?
5 feet of water.
I thought if it gets that much worse, then this place is going to implode, it's going to blow away, and we got to get under the mattresses.
About an hour away from the center. An hour away from the center. Copy? We had a VHF radio. It was extremely frightening because you would hear people saying, please help, water's at my feet, please help, it's up to my knees, I'm on my table and it's up to my waist.
We need to get out of here, the roof is going. I repeat, the roof is going.
This program brought to you by Otezla. Learn more at otezla.com.
If you have moderate to severe psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not a cream. It's a pill that treats plaque psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clear skin is achievable. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. It may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur. Tell your doctor about your medicines and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
When designing the Honda Pilot LX and Elite, we thought, why not make them
adventurous?
Okay, maybe not that adventurous. And why not room for up to 8?
That's adventurous.
And why not make them genius? A no hands sort of genius. A no wires sort of genius. And why not end with a big statement? The Pilot.
Well, it finally happened, Zachary. Somebody burned down my she shed.
The she shed was struck by lightning.
Is my she shed covered by State Farm?
Your she shed's covered, Cheryl.
That's wonderful news.
Home insurance trusted by more people than any other. State Farm.
Stop struggling to clean tough messes with sprays. Try Clean Freak. It has 3 times the cleaning power to dissolve kitchen grease on contact. It works great on bathtubs and even stainless steel. Try Clean Freak from Mr. Clean.
Good on you for sporting a look that moves without stretching your wallet. Now being comfortable is even easier with sport coats starting at $99.99, shirts and pants 3 for $99.99, plus our designer suit event starting at $149.99. Only at Men's Warehouse.
How can weather be that destructive in just a matter of seconds?
Storm Stories. All new episodes Sunday nights at 8 on the Weather Channel.
And we have a Cat 5 knocking on the door. I think maybe an hour or so away from the eye. Cannot open that door. It swung open and it bent something, and now it's got all the way. Luckily though, it's going with the wind. We'll have to watch that on the other side.
Well, when I would crack the door and look outside, you would see just a tremendous noise. It seemed to be the strongest winds were in the strongest rain. It was horizontal. It was just pulsating out there, and it was just such a loud sound. That I said, you're taking your chances if you open this door. It was very scary. John was probably thinking, don't do that. We can't compromise this structure. But he didn't say that, but I know he thought that.
At one point in time, the wind slammed it so hard that it literally knocked the door frame out of its position.
I'm not going to do that anymore. We're checking in with other islanders on the marine radio. Somebody across the cove, we heard that they had 5 feet of water in their house.
We need to get out of here. The roof is going. I repeat, the roof is going.
And she was asking pretty clearly that she was in trouble.
My room is about to go. My room is gone. Can we come over there? Come back, Richard, Monica, somebody please, come in.
It was real alarming to hear people crying for help, and there's nothing anybody could do.
Well, we're sitting inside and it's raging, and all of a sudden it gets quieter.
I'm saying it got quiet.
Which way's the wind blowing out?
The wind was right here.
Something just happened for sure. I'm still processing it.
We said, gee, it's quiet. We were in our bunker, so it's quiet. So we kind of peeked out the door.
Careful.
Sun's out.
Sun's out.
I said, sun's out. So we go outside, and then everybody starts coming out.
We're in the eye, guys, and it's gonna come back.
John's in there, come. John, y'all okay? Yeah.
You okay? Everybody's all right?
Yeah.
There you go. Whole eye right over us. Remember, I was filming some aftermath, some debris, some trees that were just stripped bare, and then I looked up and to the northeast and I go, there it is. Oh my goodness. It's like the holy grail of storm pictures from the ground. It's a blue sky Cat 5 eye. There it is. That is really something. Well, I did get it. I went right over us in Hopetown. So I said, yeah, you got to get your other camera. And so I reached for the other camera in my room. Go get it. And I said, you got to get this shot. So I looked up, and there's still blue sky up there, and I took that shot. Picking up a little breeze now, and it's coming from this direction. That direction right there, that's going to be our new wind direction. Backside was depressing. It finished us off.
Hey, come here, Jim.
Yep.
It all feels like gold. Gold to me. Might not be a diamond, but it shines for me. It all feels like gold. Gold to me. It ain't lasting silent. It's all good to
Morning.
me.
The all-new Versa, the most tech-advanced car in its class. This is Nissan Intelligent Mobility.
Okay, paint a picture for me.
This will be the kitchen.
And we'd like to put a fire pit out there and a dock with a boat, maybe.
Why haven't you started building?
Well, Tyler's off to college.
And Mom's getting older.
And eventually we would like to retire.
Yeah, it's a lot, but TD Ameritrade can help you build a plan for today and tomorrow.
Great. Can you help us pour the foundation too?
Thanks. I think you want a house near the lake, not in it.
Come with a goal, leave with a plan. TD Ameritrade.
We rent this cabin every year.
Yeah, it's perfect for us. Affordable, convenient, just what we need.
Like our wireless service, Consumer Cellular. We get everything we need at a really great price.
Consumer Cellular offers talk, text, and data for as low as $20 a month, and they've received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 7 times in a row.
Switching was easy. We even kept our phones and numbers.
And more of our money.
Switch today and get your first month of service free. Call, go online, or find us at Target.
When you fall and can't get help, you will lie on the floor for hours or days in constant, terrible anguish, which often results in a tragic outcome. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether at home,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
or on the go.
Help! I'm in the park and I can't get up.
And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-910-1964. That's 1-800-910-1964. Call now, 1-800-910-1964.
Come here, Jim.
Yep.
Flip the lock.
Got it?
Don't go out there.
Good man.
The backside was depressing. It finished us off because if you had any hope of salvaging anything when you went out in the eye, that was quickly gone.
I heard the noise, yeah.
It seemed like more debris was flying. Maybe that's because the first half took out everything, and then the second half picked it up and put it back in the other direction.
We're hearing sounds and something going on up above. We're on the first floor. Oh boy. Blowing too hard to go out. Way too dangerous.
My wife was saying, "Are you safe? What can I do? I love you." Those were very comforting words. This is the first time Missy didn't go with me, so I actually wrote her a letter saying I may not be back.
So it was raining for 2 days after the storm, so you couldn't see the damage. I mean, you saw the immediate damage, you know, the debris came right up behind the little villa there, but you really didn't know how bad it was. And when the weather cleared and you could see across the cove, then you saw how bad it was. And the clearer it got, the worse you could see. You saw sailboats just pushed way up that were riding it out, trying to ride it out on moorings, 15 feet up on the ground. There's nothing that survived out there in a mooring.
When I saw Tenacious go underwater, when I looked out, all I could see was the mast. The boom was totally underwater. I think my heart skipped several beats. I couldn't save her. It was tough. It was hard. Did I do everything I could have? I tried.
John's boat is underwater. Didn't make it.
Oh, it brought me to my knees, you know, and it's all the memories that I had with my kids, my grandkids, because this was our home away from home, but it was really the home with the community, because that's why we were there.
It's interesting because the trees were stripped of all their leaves. You see that in the most intense cyclones, and it was all dead.
It looked like a small bomb went out. There was almost no structure left that was intact. There were houses that were completely rubble down to the slab. Some houses had the entire front removed.
Well, across the cove, everything was torn up. And when I went over that, confirmed it, there's nothing livable in Hopetown. And all the boats around the lighthouse are just scattered helter-skelter.
Pretty dehydrated already. I don't think there's any water over here they can spare. There's probably a couple hundred people over here. Yeah. Just hoping we get out of here.
They're planning a biological attack.
Tim might be infected.
He's going into anaphylactic shock.
Tim better make it.
He will.
You think there's a third terrorist or something?
Run!
The Rookie returns on a new night, Sunday, 10/9 Central on ABC.
This is the Little Flower Soap Company, a small business on Amazon. I'm Holly.
I'm Justin.
This is their beautiful, luscious, flower-filled soap. These are their employees. And we're hiring. This is their lavender field. It's still growing. This is the worst smelling thing in their office. This is just one of the small and medium-sized businesses you can shop on Amazon.
Swifty's the name. And you're looking at the next lead dog for the Arctic Blast delivery service. And the one that shoots.
Swifty?
I think I'm pulling uphill. Are we uphill?
No promotion for you this year. I run serious business.
You are a small Arctic fox who was not meant to pull a giant sled with packages on it.
The only thing I'll be remembered for now is not being memorable. Like that other guy.
One guy.
Exactly. So, who's gonna be a good boy? Who's gonna be top down?
Hey, Swifty. Please deliver this package for me.
Are you sure about this?
What's the worst that could happen?
Are you crazy?
Crazy like a fox. On November 1st, Jeremy Renner, Heidi Klum, James Franco, John Cleese, Omar Sy, Michael Madsen, Laurie Holden, with Angelica Houston and Alec Baldwin.
Who's with me? What could possibly go wrong?
Incoming!
I'm blind. I'm blind. Oh, I'm not blind.
Arctic Dogs. Rated PG. In theaters November 1st.
What do we want for dinner?
Burgers! I want a sugar cookie! I want a bucket of chicken! I want...
It's the easiest because it's the cheesiest. Kraft, for the win-win.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Makeup mode.
Done. Ooh, remind me to update my profile pic. Okay.
We were nowhere near prepared for what we witnessed.
It was very evident very quickly that this was the big one.
How can weather be that destructive in just a matter of seconds?
Storm Stories, the next chapter. All new episodes, Sunday nights at 8 on the Weather Channel.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Dorian +3. Jim Eds and John Oldner. We are at the helicopter pickup point. We tried this yesterday and we just got a tan and dehydrated. So we're trying again today. Hopefully there's a helicopter. Had to pull some strings and give up our firstborn.
Not trying to go to
Hopefully
Nassau?
we'll get picked up here soon. If we have to go back, it's going to be tough.
This was my worst experience overall. There's no help coming in, nothing going out. You know, it's a big disaster, and it's so big that, look, they may not get to you for a long time.
It's frustrating to see nothing coming out here. It's not livable out here. Our water is gone. What water we had left is gone, and we were lucky to get our room back, and tempers are flaring here, and everybody out here needs to be evacuated out.
The way you get out of Hopetown is you go to the field and you hope for a passing chopper that's got some space.
We tried a helicopter, it didn't work, and we finally found a helicopter that landed there for some relief aid, and we were able to secure 2 seats on it and go to Nassau.
When I got back, I was able to catch some commercial flights and go all the way back home. I said, it's all well. You know, I'm fine now. So I put my head on the pillow, close my eyes, and I'm back in Hopetown. And I'm seeing the same thing, and I wake up, sleep 20 minutes, and I wake up. Okay, get up for a couple hours and go do something, and then come back and go to sleep. I'm back in Hopetown. And I'm seeing that the overflight of Abaco and everything just wiped out, and knowing what's going on the ground, it's just, it's disturbing, and you don't know how to process that, and that's bothersome.
Has it changed my life? Yes. We won't go back into boating, I can tell you that. We've done our thing in boating.
Tough. 23 years of my life. My wife and I, we've loved it. 67,000 seamounts.
I would say that's the worst storm I've ever been in, and I've been a lot. It's gonna take years. You gotta think years to get things back to where they were, and they're never gonna be the same, but you just gotta be patient and think long term.
Oh my God.
There's people in the water!
Powerful, destructive, insidious. Water, the ultimate force. Thank you for joining us. I'm meteorologist Maria LaRosa. Did you know flooding was the leading cause of weather-related deaths in 2015? It only takes a few seconds for Mother Nature to turn streets into rivers.
Meteorologist Alex Wilson explains why you need to respect the raw power of raging water.
Flooding.
See a lot of mud and a lot of water went inside that vehicle.
It's the #1 natural disaster in the U.S. Over the last decade, flood insurance claims have averaged more than $3.5 billion per year. And flooding is the leading cause of weather-related fatalities in this country, claiming 176 lives in 2015. In a flash flood, just 6 inches of rushing water is enough to sweep you off your feet.
Not too many people have cars made for this around here.
And the single worst decision you can make is to drive a vehicle into floodwaters of unknown depth. That's because a foot of water can exert up to 500 pounds of force on a stalled vehicle. 2 feet of water can double that force and add up to 1,500 pounds of buoyancy, enough to easily carry away most automobiles. In fact, 64% of flood deaths in 2015 occurred in vehicles.
Flooding can happen in just moments or develop over days. Sam Champion shows us that it all depends on how quickly the water rises.
River flooding can occur when a waterway is overwhelmed by a high volume of new water from either snowmelt or rain. It's a volume of water that can't be transported downstream fast enough, and the river can then exceed the capacity of its channel, spilling its banks over an area known as the floodplain. And spring rainstorms can be particularly flood triggering, with massive individual storms able to dump the rainfall equivalent of half the water in the Great Salt Lake in just a few days. The influx of water can raise the levels of some rivers as fast as 2 feet per hour until they can't handle it anymore and simply overflow. And then there's just the sheer number of streams and rivers. The United States alone has about 3.5 million miles of them, and their combined length alone is about 140 times longer than the Earth's actual circumference. That means that even if the average floodplain spanned just 50 yards, and they can be much bigger, the total area of all these flood zones in the country would be twice the size of New England. And as you know, floodwaters can be dangerous too, especially if the water hits a downslope. That allows it to gain speed. And because water weighs over 60 pounds per cubic foot, it can travel as fast as 6 miles an hour on a slope that's barely noticeable. And that's why even 6 inches of moving water can surprisingly knock you off your feet. And listen to this. In just 2 feet of water, a stalled car can be pushed downstream. In fact, each vertical foot of water can add 3,000 pounds of total lateral force to an object the size of your average car. In an effort to prevent this flooding, sometimes levees are built. They're walls or embankments that are supposed to keep rivers in their channel. The Mississippi River alone is lined by 1,600 miles of levees. They average almost 25 feet in height. So if you were just driving the Mississippi's levee, it would be longer than the drive from Miami to Boston.
When a tropical system like a hurricane or typhoon makes landfall, it can bring a devastating surge of water with the power to cover entire coastal communities. During Hurricane Katrina, that surge was nearly 28 feet high. Hurricane expert Michael Lowry shows us how it happens.
The greatest threat to loss of life during a hurricane doesn't come from the wind, it comes from the water that the wind pushes ashore. This is something that we call storm surge. Here, think of it this way. You're standing on the beach on a bright summer sunny afternoon and you watch the tides go out and you watch the tides come in. Everyone knows the tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the sun and the moon, but add to the mix a powerful storm, a hurricane. When a hurricane moves on shore, its strong winds push water toward the coast, piling up water near shore, and the water has nowhere to go but up and inland, and it's that water on top of the normal tide that we call the storm surge. And storm surge can reach as high as 20 feet and extend miles inland, causing devastating flooding and life-threatening storm surge up and down the coast.
In 2012, Superstorm Sandy caused $65 billion in damage in the U.S., making it the second costliest weather disaster in American history. As meteorologist Chris Warren explains, storm surge was the leading cause, and a miscommunication had deadly consequences.
October 27th, 2012, just 2 days before Sandy would make landfall.
Let me tell you first, we are not ordering any evacuations as of this time for any parts of the city. It is not expected to be a tropical storm or hurricane-type surge.
Because of miscommunication and old evacuation maps, many of those in the danger zone did not take the steps to escape and save their lives.
We lucked out with Irene, and now, I don't know, this may be worse. I don't know.
In less than 24 hours, Mayor Bloomberg and New York City officials had to significantly change their tunes.
In light of these conditions, I'm going to sign an executive order mandating evacuation of Zone A areas.
Superstorm Sandy went on to produce record-setting storm surge.
We've set a preliminary record now at the Battery for the all-time highest storm surge.
More than 100 people died from Sandy, nearly half of them in New York and in New Jersey. Many of those deaths could have been prevented.
When it comes to evacuating people in this country, it is literally all about storm surge and flooding. It has very little to do with the wind. Updating the New York evacuation zone started back in 2010 when, at the National Hurricane Center, we began running these computer models. We literally would go in and run thousands of hypothetical storms to determine what the flood threat is. We would give this information to FEMA, and then they would use this as the foundation for these new evacuation zones. In fact, FEMA was in the process of updating these evacuation zones when Sandy was happening.
Now the changes to those evacuation maps are complete. Instead of zones A, B, and C, there are 6 zones, numbered 1 through 6, with Zone 1 considered the most vulnerable.
It went from 3 to 6 zones. The new models helped us to narrow down where the surge will go and make the zones more precise. So you're not evacuating people who don't need to evacuate. The number of people living in the evacuation zones has increased considerably by over 600,000 people. But the good part of this is that you only have to go a little bit inland to escape the water.
Coming up next, a Saturday night out turns into one of the most devastating flood disasters in Maryland state history.
There's people in the water! Oh my God! Oh my God! There's people in the car.
Hola, mamá.
For Barcelona?
We did promise we'd go.
Do you get the miles?
We get a pet sitter.
Use the card that gets you miles closer to your promise.
They should do this every year.
And start something priceless.
I knew about the tremors, but when I started seeing things, I didn't know what was happening, so I kept it in.
He started believing things that weren't true. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't say a word.
During the course of their disease, around 50% of people with Parkinson's may experience hallucinations or delusions. But now, doctors are prescribing Nuplazid, the only FDA-approved medicine proven to significantly reduce hallucinations and delusions related to Parkinson's. Don't take Nuplazid if you are allergic to its ingredients. Nuplazid can increase the risk of death in elderly people with dementia-related psychosis and is not for treating symptoms unrelated to Parkinson's disease. Nuplazid can cause changes in heart rhythm and should not be taken if you have certain abnormal heart rhythms or take other drugs that are known to cause changes in heart rhythm. Tell your doctor about any changes in medicines you're taking. The most common side effects are swelling of the arms and legs and confusion.
We spoke up, and it made all the difference.
Ask your Parkinson's specialist about Nuplazid.
I saved hundreds when I switched my car insurance to Geico. This is how it made me feel. It was like that feeling when you pull your green sock out of the dryer, and then the very next sock is the other green one. And then you pull out 2 blue ones. And you keep going till you've matched every single sock in perfect order. And the owner of the laundromat is so impressed, he hangs a picture of you next to the dryer.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat. We are live on the ground.
Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Saturday, July 30th, 2016. Heavy rain poured down on the mountains west of Baltimore and funneled into Ellicott City, Maryland. It only took minutes.
Oh my God. And there are people in that vehicle.
To turn Main Street into a raging river. Parked cars became battering rams as water blasted through the historic downtown. 2 people were killed and more than 25 buildings were damaged. Devastation like that can happen quickly. But what if it happens to you? Would you know how to get yourself out of a potentially deadly situation? Storm Tracker Jim Cantore joined some of the best rescuers in America to learn how to survive a river of floodwater.
Flash flooding is, year after year, one of the deadliest natural disasters in this country. It happens quick. People don't expect it. A lot of people put themselves in positions that they get into trouble. I came up to work with Rescue Instructors Group, and these guys train SEALs, they train FEMA, they train first responders. They're going to teach me how to get out of a flash flood situation.
First of all, Jim, I want you to take that survivor attitude. You're not a victim, you're a survivor.
While working with Jim today, the first thing we taught him is what to do if I accidentally fall in.
The first thing I had to do was float on my back with my feet out of the water. You never want to get your feet caught in the rock. Once I'm comfortable enough there, I would roll over and just swim aggressively towards shore.
Get out. Dig.
You have to stay calm because you want all your movements to be purposeful. If you're out there thrashing, splashing about, you're not accomplishing anything.
You're gonna live today, Jim.
One of the scenarios we did with Jim today as well is we put him on a rock. He's stranded on an object. It could have been a car, it could have been a house.
I had to holler and let the rescuer know where I was. Throw me the rope, I was in a position where I wasn't gonna lunge for it.
Great shot.
And then I put the rope over my shoulder.
And then he ferried across, swimming with assistance of the rescuer.
Good job, buddy.
The third scenario we had Jim in today is called a live bait rescue. It's a rescuer on a rope tether.
We know we see rescuers downstream. We have to get down to them. We went about a quarter of a mile down the river. And it's amazing how fast you get down that river.
All right, guys, I'm about to be rescued here. We're going to be pulling it from the water.
Look at me. I've got you. Let me hold on to you.
I've got you.
Survivors always need to follow the instructions of the rescuer. Once the rescuer has their hands on them, they have to let us be in charge.
The number one thing that I walked away from today is that you absolutely have to work with this river. I can tell you one thing, after going through this today, I think I could get through a flash flood.
Coming up, June 2016 was a month West Virginia will never forget. The dramatic moments caught on camera next on Water, the Ultimate Force.
Hi guys, this is the Chevy Silverado with the world's first invisible trailer.
Invisible trailer?
And it's not the trailer right next to us?
This guy? You don't believe me? Hop in.
Good looking pickup, I will say that.
Wow.
Silverado offers an optional technology package with up to 15 different views, including one enhanced view that makes your trailer appear invisible.
Wow.
That's pretty sweet.
That's cool.
There we go.
That's awesome.
Where's the trailer though?
I love it. It's magic.
Anyone can deliver pizza. Only Marco's can deliver America's most loved pizza. Hot and fresh and right to your door. Dough made from scratch every day. Sauce from the original Gianmarco recipe. And authentic toppings like crispy Old World pepperoni. That's Italian quality pizza. And it makes the moment primo. Every day at Marco's, get 2 medium, 1 topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Hello to the Italian way. Hello, primo.
So Kim, you going for a big Drive Safe and Save discount? Yep, using the app. I've been quite vigilant. Easy.
But you're in labor.
Don't mess with my discount!
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.
They're America's biopharmaceutical researchers, pursuing life-changing cures in a country that fosters innovation. Here, they find breakthroughs, like a way to fight cancer by arming a patient's own T-cells. Because it's not just about the next breakthrough, it's all the ones after that.
nobody would be crazy enough to build a boat out of glass. But I would, using these heavy glass panels, and only Flex Glue Clear. Not only does Flex Glue's powerful adhesive hold the entire glass boat together, but it's virtually invisible. Now that's Flex-tastic! Get Flex Glue Clear or any of the Flex Seal family of products at FlexSealProducts.com.
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, just scan the sensor with your reader, iPhone, or Android and manage your diabetes. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. Ask your doctor to write a prescription for the Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without fingersticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
What's happening inside Average Underwear? What's happening inside Duluth Bullpen Underwear? Duluth Trading Bullpen Underwear with Stay Put Pouch. Keep your boys where they belong. Only at Duluth stores and DuluthTrading.com.
We got one of those new purple mattresses, and it is amazing. You have to try it.
Oh, this doesn't feel like memory foam. No. This feels amazing.
Right?
What is it?
Actually, it's called Purple, and it's a completely unique comfort technology, meticulously designed to cradle and support the human body.
Cool.
For a limited time, choose a free Purple product with mattress purchase at purple.com/TV.
Mama.
Why do I keep falling asleep during the day? What's making me so tired? I kept asking myself these questions. It felt like I was more than tired. Then I was diagnosed with narcolepsy. There are 5 major symptoms. I waited too long to take action, but you don't have to. Visit morethantired.com now. Take the Narcolepsy Symptom Screener and find a sleep specialist to share your results. Don't wait. Visit morethantired.com today.
On June 23, 2016, nearly a foot of rain fell on parts of West Virginia in just 12 hours. The effects were devastating. 23 people were killed. It may have been more, if not for the brave rescue crews who evacuated thousands of people from low-lying areas. In total, more than 500 homes were severely damaged or destroyed. During a flood like that, many of the real dangers are unseen and underestimated. Meteorologist Jen Carfagno shows us what you see on the surface isn't the whole story.
Floods, the dangers are often underestimated, threatening property and lives. Flooding is one of the deadliest natural disasters. With incredible force, a flash flood can sweep away a person in just 6 inches of water and a large vehicle in only 2 feet of water. So it's important to be prepared and know what to do. Never try to walk or swim through a flooded area if there's moving water. If you come upon a flowing stream where water is above your ankles, stop, turn around, and go another way. Remember, floodwaters can move 6 to 12 miles per hour, exerting a force that can easily knock you off your feet. Stay away from downed or broken power lines and any exposed electrical wires. Even if you don't see a spark, they can still be alive and extremely dangerous because because electrical currents can travel through water and cause electrocution. Do not drive through flooded areas. The flowing water can be very deceptive, making it impossible to determine how deep the water really is. Although vehicles are heavy and stable on dry ground, in a flood, they will float and drift quickly, losing contact with the road.
It's nearly impossible to stop a flash flood. But what if you could lessen the impacts by controlling water before it gets out of hand? Dave Malkoff shows us a team of engineers working to do just that.
When streets flood, they tend to stay like that for quite a while. For example, South Carolina's flooding in October. One of the problems that you'll see are these little drains here. As you know, most roadways have these tiny holes in them to drain the water away. But what if American streets weren't so waterproof? Would they flood less? The city of Atlanta is now in the middle of a $66 million green roads project. Crews are busy digging up century-old streets and replacing them with special bricks that soak up rainwater. Okay, here, let's do it together.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, flash flood.
You see how quickly it then allows it to seep through, to infiltrate.
Oh yeah, it did. It went right down into it. Watershed Commissioner Joanne Macrina gave us a look. This is not Dorothy's Brick Road.
These bricks are specially made.
When crews lay them down, they leave spaces in between them to let water through. A lot like rain falling on grass.
So it both stores the rainwater and cleans the rainwater.
It's called permeable pavement, stopping a flood up here by sending it down here. Way underneath the road, construction crews lay a series of pipes that actually bring the rainwater filtered by all these rocks into a nearby stream bed. It's flooded in every single direction. On a traditional road, cans, trash, animal waste, whatever else is on the road just flows along with the flood. This is more expensive, right?
It is more expensive. However, when you think about your traditional design, this is actually much, much better in our environment.
This will be the largest permeable pavement project on the continent. The commissioner is already taking calls from other cities
such as Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Portland, Oregon, San Francisco.
All interested in making their side streets a little less flood prone. In Atlanta, Dave Malkoff, The Weather Channel.
Coming up, what would you do? Oh no! 3 pieces of information that may save your life. Next.
Good on you for sporting a look that moves without stretching your wallet. Now being comfortable is even easier with sport coats starting at $99.99, shirts and pants 3 for $99.99, plus our designer suit event starting at $149.99. Only at Men's Warehouse.
Only Captain D's ultimate fish fries every day of the week. Yep, it's Southern-style whole fillets daily. 4 meals start at $4.99. That's right. It's always a Fish Friday when the captain is gone. Captain D's.
When you look good, you feel good. Thanks, Lipozene. I'm Holly Robinson Pete.
And I'm Rodney Pete. Before Lipozene, my shirts and pants were getting tight, but my New Year's resolution was that I was not going to buy bigger clothes. Since starting Lipozene, I've lost 35 pounds and 4 pant sizes.
And I've lost 13 pounds. I feel younger, and I'm fitting into sizes I haven't seen in years. Lipozene gives me the freedom I need in my life. Freedom to eat where I want, freedom to eat what I love, and the ability to lose 4 times more weight. That's why Lipozene is America's #1 weight loss supplement.
When my doctor told me I needed to lose weight before my knee surgery, Holly and I knew that Lipozene was the only one we could trust.
I'm very impressed with Rodney's weight loss. His blood pressure and cholesterol have really improved. In a clinical study, people were not asked to change their lifestyle, just add Lipozene. As a result, they lost 4 times more weight. And 78% of that weight loss was fat. Not water, but fat.
Lipozene has no harmful side effects, no caffeine, no jitters, no counting calories.
No frozen meal plans, no boot camps.
No prescriptions, and no cleanses. And Lipozene has a 100% guarantee that you will lose weight.
Or your money back.
Order now and Lipozene will double your order for free. And then double that amount for free. So now you get 4 times the Lipozene, all for the same price.
So get your Lipozene now. You can still eat the foods you love and lose 4 times more weight.
Now you can lose 4 times more weight. Just add Lipozene for only $29.95. Call right now and we'll double your order for free and ship it free too. And for a limited time, we'll double the size of each bottle for free. So now you have 4 times the Lipozene for just $29.95. Plus, you'll get Metabo Up Plus to help boost your energy and metabolism. But you must call. Call 800-493-1938. 800-493-1938. 800-493-1938.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
I wish I could shake your hand.
Granted. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else. Why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase Sensimist. Nothing stronger, nothing gentler, nothing lasts longer. Flonase Sensimist. 24-hour non-drowsy allergy relief.
We were nowhere near prepared for what we witnessed. Oh my God! It was very evident very quickly that this was the big one.
How can weather be that destructive in just a matter of seconds?
Storm Stories, the next chapter. All new episodes, Sunday nights at 8 on the Weather Channel.
May 2015, a foot of rain falls near Wimberley, Texas. In just a few short hours, the Blanco River rose nearly 35 feet, and it all happened in the dark. Oh no! Water poured into houses along the river, waking people after their escape routes were already underwater. There was no place to go. Entire blocks of homes were swept away. The flash flood killed 27 people across the state of Texas. Another 11 are still missing. Flash flooding happens quickly, giving you little time to react. That's why it's so important to have a plan ready to go. Meteorologist Chris Warren shares this life-saving information.
The best way to reduce the impact of flooding is to have a flood plan. This will help you make quick, practical decisions if waters rise. A flood plan is not difficult. First, check to see if you have flood insurance. Find out if damaged belongings will be replaced with new ones. If you're a renter, ask your landlord if insurance covers your personal property. Make sure you know how to turn off your gas, water, or electricity. If you are not sure, ask for advice. Unplug any equipment that uses water, like washing machines and dishwashers. And do not touch sources of electricity when standing in flood water. Build barriers like levees, beams, flood walls, and sandbanks to stop flood water from entering your home. Move valuable items upstairs or to a high point on your property. Keep a kit of essential items in a plastic bag. You can get a large Ziploc bag right now to put copies of your insurance documents, matches, a small radio, and a first aid kit. And remember, yours and your family's safety is most important. So move them and your pets upstairs.
The higher the water, the higher the price tag. Meteorologist Stephanie Abrams shows us major flood events can cost billions of dollars.
First, go to floodsmart.gov and launch the cost of flooding tool. Select a sample home size, 1 or 2,000 square feet. Then you choose the height of the floodwaters. For this exercise, we're estimating damage to a 2,000 square foot home with 2 inches of water. Add up furniture, appliances, and electronics. The losses inside total $21,000. Same house, but with 6 inches of flooding. Those losses, the ones you can and can't see, like plumbing and electrical work, approach $40,000. But wait, if your home floods with up to a foot of water, by the time you get it cleaned up, you're looking at more than $50,000 in damages. And the kind of flooding that requires rescue boats, we're talking 4 feet of water, well, that raises the cost of your flood to nearly $75,000.
Thank you for joining us for Water, the Ultimate Force. I'm meteorologist Maria LaRosa.
Hold on to your hats, because you're in for some wild rides. It's the ultimate test of endurance.
It's life-threatening to be in this situation.
A battle against the elements.
I think people like the bragging rights of saying they conquered Mother Nature.
This is like testing your limits to the extreme.
In the most intense conditions on Earth.
I don't know how people do it.
Defying logic and sanity.
I'm not quitting. I'm just going to keep going at this.
These are some of the most outrageous challenges in the world.
I will never do this, ever.
The Top 10 Extreme Adventures starts now. It's the age-old battle, man versus nature, with a competitive twist. These are tests of personal strength and mental fortitude made by humans who challenge themselves and their competitors in the most unforgiving weather in the world.
Nature seems to be one of those things that you just can't outwit or beat. It's always going to have the upper hand. That's also why people always want to put themselves to the test.
The conditions can be changeable, volatile, even horrible.
You're already putting your body in a lot of stress, then you're stressed because of the weather conditions.
Weather can really test you physically and psychologically.
Where better to start than on the high seas? Sailing in at number 10, the treacherous Volvo Ocean Race.
I am never, ever doing this race again.
I don't know why anyone would do this. They're all completely insane to me.
This round-the-world, round-the-clock yacht race is easily the longest and most dangerous marathon in all of sailing.
You definitely need to be in tune with what's going on in the ocean because those conditions can change very quickly and they're life-threatening.
It takes place once every 3 years, with a handful of high-tech yachts racing more than 30,000 nautical miles along some of the most hazardous ocean routes known to sailors. The race traditionally begins and ends in a Western European port, moving east around the globe, crossing 4 oceans and hitting 5 continents in 9 months.
They're not taking any fresh food, obviously. Everything you eat is freeze-dried, and this is months.
There can be as many as 10 legs in the race, including 2 of the most treacherous ocean passages on Earth. The Cape of Good Hope off South Africa and Cape Horn around the tip of South America.
These sailors will experience air temperatures anywhere from near freezing to well over 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Most of the time, these yachts are in the middle of nowhere, way out to sea, with no chance of help if they get in trouble.
You can very quickly find yourself in a situation you don't want to be in out there, and there's no one to help you. You're out there by yourself.
Anything you need, you have to do it yourself. If the boat needs fixed, you have to do it yourself. If somebody needs medical treatment, there's no one there to help you. And then you're up against the worst of the weather.
You just keep pushing as hard as you can.
The sailors face brutal conditions and enormous waves, some cresting as high as 100 feet.
Some of these storms that come in over the ocean are insane, creating huge swells.
You're going to have massive waves, strong winds, and that boat is going to take a beating.
But sometimes, the worst weather can be a sailor's best friend.
Thunderstorm over there, thunderstorm behind us, and a thunderstorm over there.
25 knots. It's like a cyclone outside. Pretty bloody unpleasant. It's got to be done.
Crews use storms like a slingshot to pick up speed.
If they're able to get out in front of one of these big storm systems coming in, then they could use the wind from the storm to kind of get a kick and kind of ride out ahead of the storm. Now, with plan right, those winds can actually work in your favor.
But again, if they get on the wrong side of that storm, it's a totally different story.
If all goes well, the yachts reach the finish line back in Western Europe sometime in June. And the prize for winning? No money, just the glory of knowing you survived and came in first. From the world's longest marathon on the high seas, we go to the next great race in our countdown, our number 9 extreme adventure, the race across America. It's long, unforgiving, and dangerous.
That's a race across America, the toughest bicycle race in the world.
It's called the world's toughest bike race for a reason. 3,000 miles, over 3 massive mountain ranges, crossing 4 major rivers, non-stop, no matter what the conditions or the weather, start to finish in just over a week.
It's a big challenge in my bucket list, and I'm gonna do it.
These bike racers are going to ride in 12 states and climb over 170,000 vertical feet in just 1 week. I mean, that's like the Tour de France on steroids. It's 30% longer than the Tour de France. in a little more than half the time. Unbelievable.
So not only are you battling your own endurance and your own willpower, you're fighting the strengths of Mother Nature and how extreme weather can be.
The annual Race for Charity begins in June in Oceanside, California, and ends on the other side of the continent in Annapolis, Maryland.
So you go from the desert to the mountain regions where you can get blizzards a lot of the time, to the plains where you get a lot of rain and thunderstorms, and then it can also get very, very hot and humid.
There are different classes of racers. Some are solo, riding the entire way by themselves. Others form teams of 2, 4, 6, or 8 riders.
It's going to be tough. We've got no idea. We're not trying to break the record. We just want to finish this thing.
But finishing isn't easy, as the race heats up almost immediately.
We're going to be cautious the first few days because I can't train for this weather.
Riders pedal through the California, Nevada, and Utah deserts, where daytime temperatures push 100 degrees.
Once you get to the interior parts of California, you're getting into the desert region. So you're going to face extremely hot conditions, extremely dry conditions.
In extreme heat, riders from around the world take unusual measures to conquer the temperature.
It's brutal, dude. I got this ice vest. That's helping a bit.
I got ice packs on for like an hour ago, and then we put the towel under my helmet and then topped them up.
As you can see, I'm pretty bundled up. I feel like I'm in Antarctica.
900 miles into the race, the riders face a new challenge, climbing the Continental Divide.
When they leave this time station, they've got a 7-mile climb. It's going to climb 1,800 feet. It's direct sun, there's no shade. They are not going to get any relief at all from that heat.
Here, the riders reach an altitude of 10,000 feet before heading down into the Great Plains.
So the Great Plains during the summer months are typically going to be hot and humid, but you can also get really intense thunderstorms.
Sometimes you can have extremely gusty winds, and that wind is coming straight at you. And sometimes it can be strong enough that it basically feels like you're pedaling straight uphill.
Can't go anywhere. It's really frustrating when you want to get somewhere and you can't get there with the headwind.
And then there's one of Mother Nature's most powerful weapons.
If you're out in the storm, riding a metal bike, you may be one of the highest points around, and that puts you in a very dangerous situation when it comes to lightning.
But these road racers are determined to weather the worst conditions to reach the finish line. And when they do, they know they've accomplished something few people ever manage.
It's worth it, man. It was hard, but wow, what an experience.
Marching ahead on our countdown of extreme adventures, get ready for some ooh-rah.
Hands down, the Crucible is by far the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life.
And later, a death-defying race.
This ultramarathon is insane.
With all-day comfort for all-day fun, Depend FitFlex underwear features maximum absorbency, ultra-soft fabric, and new beautiful designs for your best comfort and protection guaranteed. Life's better when you're in it. Be there with Depend.
So Dish gives you NFL Red Zone, no extra charge. That's every touchdown, every game, Sunday afternoons. Because if you miss all that action, you miss all this action.
Dish, tuned in to you.
I found you.
Hey, go home.
So long ago.
Banjo! Sorry, it won't happen again.
On an endless road.
Come on, let's go home.
Oh, I found you.
After 10 years, we've covered a lot of miles. Good thing I got a Subaru.
Looks like you got out again, huh, Banjo?
Love is out there. Find it in a Subaru Crosstrek.
I knew about the tremors, but when I started seeing things, I didn't know what was happening, so I kept it in.
He started believing things that weren't true. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't say a word.
During the course of their disease, around 50% of people with Parkinson's may experience hallucinations or delusions. But now, doctors are prescribing Nuplazid, the only FDA-approved medicine proven to significantly reduce hallucinations and delusions related to Parkinson's. Don't take Nuplazid if you are allergic to its ingredients. Nuplazid can increase the risk of death in elderly people with dementia-related psychosis and is not for treating symptoms unrelated to Parkinson's disease. Nuplazid can cause changes in heart rhythm and should not be taken if you have certain abnormal heart rhythms or take other drugs that are known to cause changes in heart rhythm. Tell your doctor about any changes in medicines you're taking. The most common side effects are swelling of the arms and legs and confusion.
We spoke up, and it made all the difference.
Ask your Parkinson's specialist about Nuplazid.
So Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Safe discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe. You wanna go, bro? Do not mess with my discount.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.
Never Ending Pasta Bowl is back at Olive Garden, starting at $10.99. Come in for over 100 combinations of pastas, sauces, and toppings, with everyone's favorite chicken Alfredo, plus unlimited salad and breadsticks, only for a limited time at Olive Garden.
You just can't make this stuff up.
It's impossible to look away from it.
This is insane.
Welcome back to our countdown of extreme adventures. Sailing in at number 10, the treacherous round-the-world Volvo Ocean Race. At number 9, the world's toughest bike challenge, the Race Across America. Now we move on to a different kind of extreme weather adventure. And it's not a race. This test of endurance could mean life or death. Marching in at number 8, U.S. Marine Corps training. The Marines offer a life of adventure serving around the globe. But to become one of the few, you have to survive the intense training and the weather on Parris Island, South Carolina.
You'll hear a lot of yelling.
Show your flash right now!
Move back! Move back!
Well, the Marine Corps in its wisdom chose exactly the right location to hold recruit training. And in the summer, we have heat and humidity that would challenge anybody.
Parris Island is located in the Low Country region of South Carolina, just outside Beaufort, right on the Atlantic coast.
During the course of a year, it can go from temperatures well below freezing to scorching days well above 90.
That's compounded by the wildlife known as insects like sand fleas. So really, we have a combination that only a sadist could create.
Here, wannabe Marines will be tested by top drill sergeants and the elements.
We'll be soaked with sweat from 04 in the morning to 2000 every day.
The sun, the humidity, it can get really intense, really fast.
In weather like this, we're taking a lot of extra precautions. We're making sure that all the recruits are drinking plenty of water. We're making sure that they have enough salt in their diet.
For recruits, it is a grueling test of physical strength and mental willpower.
When they're carrying all of this gear and the sun is beating down and the humidity is hitting them even before the sun comes up, they're really going to have to dig down deep just to get through this.
Recruits must pass one final challenge. They call it the Crucible.
It's a culminating event where they can apply everything that they learned throughout boot camp in just 54 hours.
The heat was terrible. It was very hot.
Hands down, the Crucible is by far the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. From start to finish, it was a mindset of never giving up.
But this isn't the end of the extreme weather training for many Marines. Across the continent, high in the Sierra Nevada of California, the challenge is to stay alive and learn to fight in frigid winter conditions.
It's part of what the Marine Corps needs to be ready to do, in any kind of environment. So, our little slice of it is high altitude, mountainous, and snow-covered environments.
Here, at the Mountain Warfare Training Center, Marines are taught the basics of survival in deep snow and sub-freezing temperatures.
We take Marines that in many cases have never seen the snow before, never been on skis before, and we bring them up into this environment and we teach them how to really live and then thrive in this environment.
The most brutal training exercise may be this one: how to survive a fall into an icy lake or river before hypothermia sets in. Getting their packs out quickly is essential. Their only dry clothes are tucked away inside. With strength draining away in the frigid water, ski poles become a tool to haul themselves to safety.
There you go.
After Marines finish this bone-chilling training in the snow, they're ready for action anywhere around the world, no matter what the conditions, freezing cold or searing heat.
They will definitely deserve their Eagle Globe and Anchor and the title United States Marine.
Our next extreme adventurer is armed with only a camera, but that's all photographer Angela Percival needs as she battles the weather to capture the perfect picture.
I shoot pictures outside of action, anything from skiing to trail running to trekking to ice climbing to backpacking.
Angela shoots much of her work in the brutal terrain and extreme weather of Canada's Whistler Mountain.
A lot of the time I have to just work with the weather. I just have to deal with what I've got. Most of the time it's wet and cold or a combination of both. There's a lot of wind, a lot of snowstorms.
This is really beyond being uncomfortable. It's actually life-threatening weather, so it can get extremely dangerous.
Getting the shot is often a long, lonely solo adventure.
I don't have assistants, I don't have an army of people, so everything goes on my back. And that's whether it's skiing or climbing. It's not like you can walk down the street and you start shooting. You also only have one shot.
The harsh conditions and athleticism of her subjects wreaks havoc on her body.
A lot of the times, I feel like I'm chasing them around the mountains. I used to suffer a lot, but I would just strap on my backpack and just determined face and just go, and it was really painful.
And her gear.
You have to take your battery out and put it in your jacket after every shot, and your eyes freeze together, and they're freezing to the back of the viewfinder.
While freezing temperatures and raging winds are tough, even more dangers lurk in the remote mountainous terrains.
Just this last winter, we were shooting ice climbing, and it's been snowing all day, and we were all standing on a ledge packing up, and we got sloughed on by this avalanche of snow just came down the wall, and we were all buried up to our shoulders. In a mountain environment, you just can't become complacent.
Despite the danger, Angela only sees the beauty in her extreme artistic adventure.
Truthfully, I think the weather makes all my shoots better. I love being out there. I love taking the photos. I love experiencing life and the world through my camera.
Up next on our countdown, you've got to be tenacious and maybe a little crazy to survive this challenge.
They call it the last wild race.
And later, an expedition like no other.
To even fathom getting across Antarctica is just mind-blowing.
DiGiorno pizza bakes fresh in your own oven and travels straight to your table.
Unlike delivery that goes from oven to box to bag to car to traffic to wrong houses.
Nobody delivers a piping hot and crispy crust like a DiGiorno pizza. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
So Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe. You wanna go, bro? Do not mess with my discount.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.
Hi, Phil Swift here. People everywhere tell me how much they love the Flex Seal family of products.
This stuff is awesome.
It really works.
Best stuff I ever got.
Nothing compares to the strength of original Flex Seal. Flex Seal Liquid, Flex Shot, Flex Tape, and Flex Glue. Now you can coat, patch, seal, and repair. Imagine everything you could do with the Flex Seal family of products. Available at these fine retailers.
Grrr, feed me. Come on. She won't mind. She won't mind at all.
Richard?
Hey, Sheila.
Silence your growl. Just one bowl of Frosted Mini Wheats, and you're good till lunch.
all feels like gold. Gold to me. Might not be a diamond, but it shines for me. It all feels like gold. Gold to me. It ain't lasting silent. It's all good to
Morning.
The all-new Versa, the most tech-advanced car in its class. This is Nissan Intelligent Mobility.
When you fall and can't get help,
Help!
you will lie on the floor for hours or days in constant, terrible anguish, which often results in a tragic outcome. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether at home,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
or on the go.
Help! I'm in the park and I can't get up.
And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-910-1964. That's 1-800-910-1964. Call now, 1-800-910-1964.
We're back with our countdown of extreme adventures. At number 10, the raging high seas in the Volvo Ocean Race. Cycling in at number 9, the toughest bike race in the world. We tested physical and mental endurance at number 8 with marine training. And climbing in at 7, capturing the perfect picture. Our next extreme adventure may be the toughest known to man and woman. At number 6, the Patagonia Expedition Race.
The Patagonia Expedition Race, they call it the Last Wild Race.
This is the world's ultimate eco-adventure race.
Adventure racing is a type of very intense scavenger hunt. It requires a team, usually a team of 4, and it requires a lot of gear, a whole mess of gear.
It kind of takes in all the outdoor disciplines, mountain biking, paddling, mountaineering, and trail running, and adds to them the facet of navigation.
Should be more over there.
Patagonia, Chile is desolate, imposing, and awe-inspiring.
It is one of the most untracked wildernesses that is left on the planet.
It's just the most amazing, untouched, raw, beautiful place I've ever been.
Jason and Chelsea Magnus are seasoned adventure racers, part of a 4-person team called the Yoga Slackers.
The Patagonia Expedition Race is my ultimate favorite race. We've done it 5 times now.
Every year, up to 20 teams like the Yoga Slackers take on the challenge to race hundreds of miles using only a map and a compass.
Ready to go!
A lot of it is no trails, so we're really forging paths.
Instead of having a marked course like in a triathlon or a marathon, you're out there in the wilderness with your team having to make decisions like you would in an old school expedition. Like, which way do we go? Do we go up the ridge? Do we go down through the valley? Cross the river here?
The expedition forges a new path every year, passing through the area's diverse terrain. Completing this extreme adventure can take up to 14 days.
We race from the ocean all the way up to these high alpine environments.
You get on your bike and then you're biking through this amazing flatland. And then you get into the mountains and it's just epic, amazing, huge mountaintops and glaciers.
This terrain creates a variety of climate zones with drastically different weather.
Oh, the weather in Patagonia plays a huge role for this race. It is so dramatic.
Patagonia creates its own weather. Like down there in Tierra del Fuego and in those mountain ranges that come from the sea up to high altitudes, it's got its own weather system that's completely unpredictable.
So you get these storms that come in off the ocean and then hit the mountains. And the mountains can often act as a trigger for some very strong rainfall, snow, very heavy winds.
The Patagonian weather can be unpredictable and deadly.
We've literally seen winds down there close to 100 miles an hour that are just whipping. We've been places where all of a sudden we get 3 or 4 inches of snow, and then the terrain goes from marginally treacherous to extremely treacherous.
This extreme weather takes its toll on the adventure racers.
Honestly, the weather is what causes most of these teams to drop out. They're mostly prepared physically, but then you add the idea of biking for 300 kilometers and you get a headwind that's 60 miles an hour into your face, and that 270 kilometers becomes insurmountable. And that's just the weather.
For most racers, it's not the physical part that's so demanding.
The biggest piece is probably mental, because in every race I've ever done, there comes to be a point where I want to quit. And I tell myself this is my last race I'm ever doing. And there has to be something in the back of your mind that says, I'm not going to quit right now.
But as cruel as the Patagonian weather can be on the mind and body, it's also a big reason these racers keep coming back for more.
The best part about weather is that it changes, and it is just as beautiful in Patagonia as it is harsh.
We took a couple minutes and were just like, wow, this is amazing. Look at where we are.
And then it's not racing, it's just being in this experience and being so happy to be there.
Up next, put on your rally caps. It's an epic race where the ocean meets the desert.
You get kind of these 2 different crazy climates in this one small area.
And later, weather and waves aren't the only water hazards this man faces on his extreme adventures.
And all of a sudden, Portuguese man of war just got me right in the face and all down my side. It felt like someone put an iron on me.
They're America's biopharmaceutical researchers, pursuing life-changing cures in a country that fosters innovation. Here, they find breakthroughs, like a way to fight cancer by arming a patient's own T-cells. Because it's not just about the next breakthrough, it's all the ones after that.
At Joseph A. Bank, feel your best, no matter your title. Trailblazer, mentor, closer. Now through Sunday, get up to 60% off almost everything. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, every day can begin with flakes. It's a reminder of your struggles with psoriasis. But what if your psoriasis symptoms didn't follow you around? That's why there's Illumia. With just 2 doses, a majority of people were clear or almost clear, and over time, even more people were clear or almost clear, all with dosing 4 times a year after 2 initial doses. Plus, Illumia was shown to have similar risks of infections compared to placebo.
Don't use if you're allergic to Illumia or any of its ingredients. Before starting treatment, your doctor should check for tuberculosis and infections. After checking, there is no need for routine lab monitoring unless your doctor advises it. Illumia may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or have symptoms, or if you plan to or have recently received a vaccine.
This could be your chance to leave your psoriasis symptoms behind. Ask your doctor for Illumia today for a clearer tomorrow.
This fall, book 2 separate qualifying stays at choicehotels.com and earn a free night. Because when your business is rewarding yourself, our business is you. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Son, I need to tell you something.
What is it, Dad?
If you ever have any questions, you call 1-877-522-5001.
Means a lot, Pop.
Special moments with Dos Equis. Keep it interessante.
Now at Domino's, we're more than just hand-tossed pizza for $7.99. We're $7.99 gluten-free crust, $7.99 handmade pan crust, $7.99 Brooklyn-style crust, and $7.99 crunchy thin crust, too. Carry out 3-topping pizzas on any of Domino's 5 crusts for just $7.99 each.
The Honda HR-V is perfect for your typical day. Because it's been designed for your less typical ones, too. So it's ready for just about anything. The Honda HR-V, with available real-time all-wheel drive with intelligent control system. Get a great deal on the HR-V, part of U.S. News & World Report's best SUV brand.
Our top 10 countdown of extreme adventures began on the high seas with the perilous Volvo Ocean Race. Then we went on the grueling bicycle race across America. We endured rugged marine training capture the perfect picture in the Canadian mountains. And at number 6, the world's toughest eco challenge in Patagonia. Now we're gunning our engines to the far western coast of Mexico, racing in at number 5 on our countdown, the punishing Baja Rally. The Baja Rally is one of the most famous and torturous dirt bike off-road races in the world.
Well, the riders actually have to find their own way to the finish line every day. There's a lot of strategy involved. It's kind of like playing chess while you're racing a motorcycle.
The course runs from Ensenada down the Pacific coast, across the mountains to La Paz, turning up along the Gulf of California, and back to Ensenada.
The Baja Peninsula has a lot of different varied climates, and it has to do with this mountain chain that goes right up the middle, and that often separates the kind of weather that you'll see on either side of the mountain.
On the west side, the side closest to the Pacific, you get kind of a Mediterranean type climate or environment.
You can wind up with these circulations, late day thunderstorms, morning fog. That's all part of the climate near the coastline.
On the eastern side of the mountains, you have a dry, hot desert and high chaparral.
You get kind of these two different crazy climates in this one small area.
These climates throw a variety of challenging weather conditions at the racers, who compete over 5 grueling days every October.
On the Baja Peninsula in October, you are still, in fact, in hurricane season. It's really rare for a full-fledged hurricane to come over the northern portions of the peninsula where this race takes place, but you can still have the remnants.
And those remnants can pound the Baja Peninsula.
You wind up with a slow-moving storm that can dump tons of rain, inches of rain, and so flooding becomes a bigger factor rather than wind.
But the biggest danger for these adventure racers is not the wind, the rain, or the searing desert heat. It's fog.
Because of that cold water just off the coast, you get this mixing between the warm land and the cold air right over the water, and you can have fog that just rolls in and gets stuck there.
Mountains have their own little climate makeup, and they can have foggy conditions that kind of settle down from the tops of the mountains, and sometimes go all the way down to the valley.
Heavy fog makes navigation impossible, bringing the race to a halt.
You can no longer keep an eye on the racers from above, which is what they want to do with the helicopters. So if you have too much fog, race is a no-go.
Facing fog, wind, rain, heat, and sleep deprivation, the racers go non-stop until they reach the finish line back in Ensenada. Just in time for an ice-cold cerveza. Some ultimate weather adventures are races. Others are much more personal. At number 4 on our countdown, the polar explorations of Sebastian Copeland. He's an award-winning photographer and environmental activist who challenges himself using an unconventional mode of transportation.
Kite skiing is incredibly well suited for an ice sheet, provided you're headed in the right direction. If you can basically trace your course to correspond with the dominant winds, you can be incredibly efficient, traveling at speeds of 40 miles per hour. The entire trip essentially is done on a white desert of ice.
In 2010, Sebastian set off on a wild adventure to kite ski across Greenland, where average temperatures are below freezing and the winds are vicious.
You rely on katabatic winds, which are local winds that rely on gravity to create motion.
Katabatic winds occur when you have really cold air at high elevations that swoop down mountainsides.
Because it's so dense and heavy, it picks up speed as it goes down to the lower elevations of the coastal regions and can get up to 80 to 100 miles per hour.
This 43-day extreme adventure started in the south and ended 1,400 miles to the north. The wind-powered trek set a world record for the longest distance traveled using kites and skis in a 24-hour period.
Greenland is a very, very powerful entity. There's brutal winds that can surprise you by how violent it is. But they're also amazing areas, which gives you a glimpse into what the world looked like before we were there, and surely what it's going to look like after we've gone.
A year after Greenland, Sebastian and his expedition partner took on another extreme weather challenge, some 12,000 miles away. He dared to cross Antarctica.
Antarctica is a completely different beast. It's mentally much more challenging than Greenland.
It's desolate, it's barren, it's extreme. It's basically like going to another planet.
To even fathom getting across Antarctica is just mind-blowing.
We started from the eastern coast of Antarctica and went to the South Pole and ended up on the western coast of Antarctica.
The expedition took 82 days, all on foot and skis, hauling a sled full of supplies.
The 400-pound sledge is essentially the bane of your existence in the beginning of the trip.
As if hauling the sled uphill isn't tough enough, Antarctica throws another brutal obstacle at them.
Antarctica, just like Greenland, also has these katabatic winds.
The katabatic winds are famous in Antarctica. Now, some of the strongest winds in the world are found there.
If you're going uphill, you're basically facing headwinds.
On the flip side, those katabatic winds can be a big help.
It may take you 10 days to get up the plateau of really heavy pulling. And then finally, when there's a slight variation in the sloping, the wind may start to push sideways a little bit, and then life is completely different at that point because the wind is doing all the hard work.
Sebastian and his expedition partner were the first to cross Antarctica without any motorized equipment. They relied entirely on their own power and the wind.
Why would anyone do this after what I'm describing? Because it's fun. It's literally the last frontier. There has been less people in areas of Antarctica than there have been on the moon.
In 2016, Sebastian was back on the top of the world in the Arctic, challenging himself on a risky mission to the North Pole.
The North Pole is very possibly the most difficult expedition in the world.
What makes it so tough is the extreme weather, sub-freezing cold, and deadly wind.
We got dropped off, it was minus 45. Within one day, the temperatures dropped to, beyond minus 60. We also had 25 knots of wind, which means temperatures there were probably in the range of 85 to 90 below.
As the temperature dropped, it only got worse.
I developed some severe frostbites on 6 of my fingers, and this was literally on day 2 of the expedition.
Because frostbite can be life-threatening, it was a game ender.
We were incredibly prepared, amazing support, but in the end you also need a little bit of luck, and we hit the coldest temperatures there in more than 18 years.
For Sebastian and his partner, the planned 55-day mission to the North Pole lasted only 72 hours.
It was a huge disappointment. Live to tell the tale and basically lick my wounds and prepare the next attempt.
Up next, a blistering hot adventure that defies common sense.
This ultramarathon is insane.
And still to come, there's blood in the water.
I knew that I was bleeding from 3 different areas. It was just, I didn't know if I'd ever get a chance to come back and do this again.
If you have moderate to severe psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not a cream. It's a pill that treats plaque psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clearer skin is achievable. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. It may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur. Tell your doctor about your medicines and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
Life is just as powerful as the Lexus RX. As many safety features as the RX. The new Lexus RX has met its match.
If they're talking about you, you must be doing something right. Experience the style, craftsmanship, and technology that have made the RX the leading luxury SUV of all time.
Lease the 2019 RX 350 for $399 a month for 36 months.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Hi, Phil Swift here for Flex Glue Clear, the crystal clear rubberized glue with amazing instant grab. It locks into place and it holds on tight. Ordinary glues are thin and runny, but Flex Glue Clear is super thick. It clings to the surface and it virtually disappears. Nobody would be crazy enough to build a boat out of glass. wood using these heavy glass panels and only Flex Glue Clear. Not only does Flex Glue's powerful adhesive hold the entire glass boat together, but it's virtually invisible. Now that's Flex-tastic! Woohoo! Get Flex Glue Clear or any of the Flex Seal family of products at FlexSealProducts.com.
Swifty's the name. And you're looking at the next lead dog for the Arctic Blast delivery service. And the one that shoots.
Swifty?
I think I'm pulling uphill. Are we uphill?
No promotion for you this year. I run serious business.
You are a small Arctic fox who was not meant to pull a giant sled with packages on it.
The only thing I'll be remembered for now is not being memorable, like that other guy.
One guy.
Exactly. So, who's gonna be a good boy? Who's gonna be top down?
Hey, Swifty. Please deliver this package for me.
Are you sure about this?
What's the worst that could happen?
Are you crazy?
Crazy like a fox. On November 1st, Jeremy Renner, Heidi Klum, James Franco, John Cleese, Omar Sy, Michael Madsen, Laurie Holden, with Angelica Houston and Alec Baldwin.
Who's with me? What could possibly go wrong?
Incoming!
Oh, I'm blind. I'm blind. Oh, I'm not blind. Arctic Dogs, rated PG, in theaters November 1st. Well, it finally happened, Zachary. Somebody burned down my she shed.
The she shed was struck by lightning.
Is my she shed covered by State Farm?
Your she shed's covered, Cheryl.
That's wonderful news.
Home insurance trusted by more people than any other. State Farm.
This is insane. Oh my God.
This can give you the easiest way out of a deadly situation.
Unfreaking believable.
It's impossible to look away from it.
Your heart's just beating.
It was just like a bomb had gone off in this town.
Oh my God!
Welcome back to Top 10 Extreme Adventures. We began with the round-the-world Volvo Ocean Race at number 10. At 9, the grueling bicycle race across America. Brutal marine training came in at 8. And the perfect picture at 7. For number 6, we went on an extreme Patagonian Eco Challenge. 5 took us on a wild Baja rally. And at 4, we followed extreme adventurer Sebastian Copeland to the ends of the earth. Next up is a trip to the hottest spot on the planet for the world's toughest long-distance foot race. At number 3 on our countdown, the Badwater Ultra Marathon.
This ultra marathon is insane.
It's the harshest environment on planet Earth, and I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm out here doing it.
It's called the Badwater Ultra Marathon because that's where it starts, right in the heart and killer heat of Death Valley, California.
Death Valley? Whoa, that's gotta be horrible. It's death.
Death Valley holds the record for the hottest temperature recorded on Earth, 134 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's kind of crazy that they even have a race in Death Valley. Why? Why would you do this to yourself? And they're doing it in mid-July.
The marathon begins at the lowest point in the continental United States, next to a pool of salt water, hence the name Badwater. For the next 135 miles without stopping over 4 days, runners cross Death Valley up to the Mount Whitney Portal. For ultra-marathon junkies, this is the ultimate test of human endurance and sanity.
Temperatures can get up to 120 degrees in July, and not just that, these people are running 135 miles.
Not only is it really hot, but it's really dry as well. So you're going to lose a lot of water from your body through perspiration.
Heat stroke and equipment failure is a real danger.
If you wear the wrong shoes, the gel in certain shoes will explode and will literally melt on the pavement.
This is what we call the death section. This is more runners break down in this section because of the heat.
There's a term in racing called DNF, which usually means did not finish. In such circumstances, DNF stands for did nothing fatal.
To end the race, runners begin a long, torturous climb up the steep eastern slope of Mount Whitney, the highest peak in the lower 48.
Probably the biggest change in weather you would have on this marathon is going to be because of elevation. Starting below sea level and going up over 8,000 feet is certainly going to change your temperature.
On average, the air temperature cools about 2.5 degrees for every 1,000 feet you climb. That's a 20+ degree difference from the start and finish of the race.
They're having to deal with colder temperatures as well as the air thinning out the higher you go up in the elevation.
The race record start to finish is just over 25 hours of punishing non-stop running. But most racers take longer.
A lot of what keeps me going, gets me going in these races is digging deep inside yourself.
You have to be just somebody who just wants to win.
Most extreme adventurists are in it for the intense competition, but not this man. He's in it for nothing more than the ultimate test of his own personal limits. At number 2 in our countdown, Kilian Jornet's Summits of My Life. Kilian Jornet is a freak of nature. He's a world-class ultra-marathon racer from Spain, but the miles he runs aren't on the road. His goal is to summit the world's most imposing peaks.
Kilian is special because not only is he climbing these mountains, he's running up these mountains.
The types of danger you can wind up in all depend on the height of the mountain and the time of year you're doing it in, as well as how long you're spending out in the elements.
Kilian earned his chops running up 2 of Europe's most majestic mountains, the Matterhorn and Mont Blanc.
They're both in the Alps. They're both around 14 to 15,000 feet in elevation, and they're going to be both similar as far as weather goes. It's going to be colder the farther you go up the mountain. The winds are going to increase, and you're going to encounter more snow and ice.
Kilian jogs up these treacherous peaks with reckless abandon and very little climbing gear, often by himself.
To climb and free climb some of these extremely tall mountains with even colder conditions at the top, and to do that without the differing gear, is a very difficult task and could potentially put you in a dangerous situation if you, for whatever reason, got caught in that upper, colder terrain.
Daunting as those alpine peaks may be, Kilian set his sights even higher, taking on the tallest mountain in North America, Alaska's Denali.
Denali is going to be even colder. Not only is it at a high latitude in Alaska, it's also a higher elevation, so it actually goes up to 20,000 feet.
But that wasn't enough for this extreme adventurer. Kilian's next goal, the top of the world, Mount Everest.
And not only is it the highest at around 29,000 feet, think about that. That's where airplanes fly. Think about how cold it is at elevation. And on top of that, you're basically on top of a mountain with very strong winds. You can't even breathe well up there because there's so little oxygen in that atmosphere.
Kilian's first attempt was in 2015, but the effort was halted after a killer earthquake hit the mountain and ended all climbing. He tried again in 2017, launching a solo assault on Everest summit.
Oh yeah, feeling good. Just one wrong move. Imagine stepping off that kind of really narrow piece of land the wrong way while you're running basically on top of the world.
Not only did Kilian succeed in his summit attempt, he did it again 5 days later. The second time, he nearly set a record, making the round-trip jog from base camp to the summit and back in just 17 hours. Coming up, our countdown of extreme adventures heads towards a watery end.
The biggest challenge we face is not the sharks, it's not the jellyfish, it's not the storms, it's the hypothermia.
So, you want to get creative with your oatmeal. First, you need whole grain Quaker oats and maybe a bit of tried and true. Then add some Solid Choice. Your perfect bowl is yours to create. Our oats, your creation. Quaker Oats.
Breathe. In and out. Every breath makes you feel closer to nature. And every sip makes nature feel closer to you. Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Beer in its organic form.
I knew about the tremors, but when I started seeing things, I didn't know what was happening. so I kept it in.
He started believing things that weren't true. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't say a word.
During the course of their disease, around 50% of people with Parkinson's may experience hallucinations or delusions. But now, doctors are prescribing Nuplazid, the only FDA-approved medicine proven to significantly reduce hallucinations and delusions related to Parkinson's. Don't take Nuplazid if you are allergic to its ingredients. Nuplazid can increase the risk of death in elderly people with dementia-related psychosis and is not for treating symptoms unrelated to Parkinson's disease. Nuplazid can cause changes in heart rhythm and should not be taken if you have certain abnormal heart rhythms or take other drugs that are known to cause changes in heart rhythm. Tell your doctor about any changes in medicines you're taking. The most common side effects are swelling of the arms and legs and confusion.
We spoke up, and it made all the difference.
Ask your Parkinson's specialist about Nuplazid.
If you haven't tried Taco Bell's Breakfast Crunch Wrap, filled with crispy bacon, scrambled eggs, and an entire hash brown, then consider this your wake-up call. Wake up to the Breakfast Crunch Wrap at Taco Bell. Order ahead and have it waiting.
The ups and downs of frequent mood swings can plummet you to extreme lows, lift you to intense highs, or make you feel both at once. Overwhelmed by bipolar 1 symptoms? Ask about Vraylar. Some medications only treat the lows or the highs. Vraylar effectively treats depression, acute manic, and mixed episodes of bipolar 1. Full spectrum relief of all symptoms, with just one pill once a day. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction. Or uncontrollable muscle movements may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. Metabolic changes may occur. Movement dysfunction, restlessness, sleepiness, stomach issues are common side effects. When bipolar 1 overwhelms, Vraylar helps smooth the ups and downs.
We were nowhere near prepared for what we witnessed.
It was very evident very quickly that this was the big one.
How can weather be that destructive in just a matter of seconds?
Storm Stories, the next chapter. All new episodes, Sunday nights at 8 on the Weather Channel.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life. But with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on, uninterrupted, because you'll have power when you need it the most.
24 days we were without power. I had water, I had ice, I had coffee, I had air conditioner. I was able to stay here because of the Generac.
Get the safety, security, and peace of mind your family deserves with a home standby generator from Generac. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
Very good product. Very, very good reviews from everybody.
Prices start at just $19.99. And special financing is available with surprisingly affordable monthly payments. Call now to schedule your free in-home assessment, and you'll receive a 7-year extended warranty absolutely free. That's a $695 value. Call or go online today. Power your life with Generac.
Welcome back to our countdown of extreme adventures we've taken to the oceans. Biked, cycled, and ran across America. Traversed desolate landscapes, battled the weather to become a Marine and capture the perfect picture, and scaled new heights on the world's biggest mountains. Now we're headed back to the high seas for our final extreme adventure. Swimming in at number 1, the Ocean 7 Challenge and the man who conquered it. We all know about the 7 Summits Challenge to climb the tallest mountain on every continent. But there's another challenge of body and mind that may be even tougher. It's the Ocean 7.
The Ocean 7 Challenge is very difficult. The main reason for that is because you're talking 7 iconic marathon swims around the world. Some of them are well known to a lot of people, some of them aren't.
Yeah! The English Channel is best known to ocean marathon swimmers.
It's about 20 miles in distance as a bird flies, and it's cold.
But there's also the notoriously frigid North Channel between Great Britain and Ireland, the unpredictable Cook Strait connecting the main islands of New Zealand, the windy Molokai Channel in Hawaii.
When I swam the Molokai Channel, and all of a sudden, Portuguese man of war just got me right in the face and all down my side. Felt like someone put an iron on me.
The predator-infested Catalina Channel off Southern California.
I saw one shark. It's dangerous out there.
The wicked Strait of Gibraltar. And the least known and most dangerous of all, the Tsugaru Strait between the islands of Honshu and Hokkaido in Japan.
Open water swimming is one of the most difficult activities I think a person can do. There are so many things that you need to battle against when you're out in open water.
As of 2017, only 6 people in the world had completed all of the Ocean 7 marathon swims, and only 1 did them all on the first try. Darren Miller, ocean swimmer extraordinaire.
It's a challenge that takes a swimmer in all kinds of different environments, and that's the cool part about it. So you're swimming in warm water, you're swimming in cold water, you're swimming in storms.
Every challenge Darren faced brought demanding weather conditions.
The weather in each of these straits can be dangerous.
The biggest issue with weather is very simple. It comes and goes. You cannot predict it.
He also had to contend with deadly wildlife and a silent killer.
The biggest challenge we face is not the sharks, it's not the jellyfish, it's not the storms, it's the hypothermia. The challenge of overcoming water that's only in the 50s.
And he's doing it with just a regular bathing suit, swim cap, and goggles. No neoprene or wetsuits allowed.
Swimming in cold water for long periods of time, your core body temperature drops, and that obviously can lead to hospitalization. It could also actually lead to death.
Darren's coldest swim was the North Channel, 22 frigid miles between Ireland and Great Britain. But the English Channel is equally brutal.
The waters there are frigid, really frigid. But what's interesting is that the air temperatures on top of that can often be a lot colder than the water itself. And that's a pretty bad thing.
Along with the risk of hypothermia, marathon swimmers are battered to the brink of exhaustion.
You're getting hit again and again by waves and wind, and there's no way for you to rest.
Put all these ingredients together in one swim, and you have an extreme recipe for disaster.
The most difficult swim I had of the 7 was the Tsugaru Channel. We realized pretty quickly that this is a very unpredictable body of water.
Less than 24 swimmers have crossed the Tsugaru Strait, compared to over 2,000 who've done the English Channel.
I remember we were up there and we were looking out over the ocean the first day, and it was just incredibly ominous, right? There was a ton of fog out there. It was extremely choppy, very windy. It was rough conditions.
Darren's attempt to cross the Tsugaru Strait nearly ended before he even started.
I'm slowly navigating, walking down this rock, and I slip and fall. And I slice both my calves, both my shins, my whole forearm, bleeding from both parts of my leg.
Blood in the water is never a good thing.
The last thing you want to do is to jump off a rock, bleeding from all over the place, and knowing that there's great whites swimming around you.
Darren must decide, quit or dive in.
I knew that I was bleeding from 3 different areas. It was just, I didn't know if I'd ever get a chance to come back and do this again. And I thought about the people that motivated and inspired me to do this, and I just jumped in and started going.
He expected to make the swim in 8 or 9 hours, but the conditions suddenly changed.
Waves became larger, wind became stronger. Winds were driving the current to cross his path.
I then started getting pushed backwards and essentially swimming in a counterclockwise direction. I was actually moving backwards.
Ocean 7 creator Steve Munatones was on the escort boat right beside Darren.
You could see Darren just gritting his teeth, closing his eyes. His teeth are chattering, and there was nothing that we could do to help him.
10, 12, 14 hours, and he's still fighting the current.
I'll never forget that as long as I live, because that was the most difficult swim I'd ever been on.
Finally, after 15 hours and 55 minutes in the frigid, churning water, he made it.
Great job, Darren.
Finishing all 7 marathon swims puts Darren in very rare company. But it's not why he does it.
I did this for one reason. That was to inspire others to pursue challenges in their life. As long as you keep moving in the right direction, you're going to get there.
No matter what obstacles you may face, whether they may be physical and mental endurance, or matching wits with the powerful forces of nature, whatever your ultimate weather adventure may be, just go for it.
Are you afraid of the weather?
Something about thunder, it freaks me out. It's weird.
The sound, the volume is one enough to make you jump out of your shoes.
Snow frightens me.
Thinking about an avalanche is quite scary.
It's getting dark. It's getting cooler. That is really creepy.
What causes these intense fears?
We go into a panic state and we feel like we need to flee or fight.
And what can you do about it?
First thing I'm going to do is go pick up my phone and look at the radar.
For some, the feeling is uncontrollable.
It wasn't just a little fear.
This was a big, bad fear.
This was a genuine phobia.
It's time to get into the human mind and explore our top 10 list of weather phobias. We all have our fears, but some research suggests that as many as 1 in 10 of us may suffer from a weather-related phobia. Hi, I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams. Now, it's one thing to have a rational respect for an impending storm, but quite another when just the mention of it scares you to death.
Your heart would be beating like crazy. Blood would be diverted from your stomach and your brain into your muscles.
By definition, fear is a vital response to impending danger. A phobia is an extreme extension of fear that's sometimes irrational and disproportionate to the actual danger. Both can be triggered by the weather.
People develop fears about different weather events for a couple of different reasons. One is very primal, and the other is trauma-related.
It could be a bad car wreck in the fog, a wicked lightning strike and thunderbolt, or the sound of a hurricane tearing the roof off your house.
The adrenaline runs to the throat, it runs to the head, it runs to the chest, the heart starts to palpitate.
How we control these emotions and conquer the fear
Surfing's it's therapeutic on a bunch of different levels.
Can be as unique as the phobia that causes it.
Atmospheric wind is the biggest thing with me. That's what really affects me and stirs the anxiety.
If there was a storm predicted to come in, I did not want to go anywhere.
Suddenly there was a flash of lightning and a boom of thunder, and I was screaming.
We can't actually see it, but we know it's there. That's what makes the first weather phobia on our list so terrifying. Coming in at number 10, fear of the wind.
A fear of wind is called anchrophobia.
People that have a fear of the wind have it especially difficult. Because think about it, you can't see wind, but you can hear, right?
The howl of a high wind can be scary to a person, first because it's a very scary sound, and from the time that we're children, we're afraid of those kinds of sounds.
Wind can also have very real physical effects. During the Great Depression, the wind-whipped planes carried dust into the lungs of many, causing asthma, pneumonia, and other killer diseases. High wind can also rapidly affect pressure in the inner ear, bringing great pain.
And this, in turn, affects us mentally and increases our anxiety level.
Some winds bring added fears, like the wicked Santa Anas that blast Southern California.
These are strong, very gusty winds that occur in those areas. They're dangerous because they're very hot and very dry and can lead to spread of wildfire.
Andy Snyder has been living with the oppressive fear of wind since he was young. Andy is an anchrophobiac.
I remember one time coming out of a shopping mall with my mother, and the wind was just howling through the parking lot. I felt deathly scared.
As Andy grew, he failed to shake the phobia.
If I feel 15 miles an hour, I'm definitely tensing up. Anything over that 20, 25, it gets into the fear category for sure.
Hoping to beat the fear, Andy launched a career as a charter fishing boat captain. Out on the ocean, there's no hiding from the wind.
I know the forecast, maybe they're calling for 20 knots that day. So I start to tense up. My mood definitely changes. All of a sudden I go from concentrating on catching fish to what the weather's doing.
And that can lead to problems.
The worst part is probably the limitations. You know, there's times I know when I could have gone out in the water, caught fish, and I didn't. There's regret there.
But Andy's time on the water has been self-prescribed immersion therapy. By exposing himself to the very thing that terrified him most, Andy has learned to control his emotions.
For people that have a weather phobia, I would tell them just work through it. Understand what it is, what your limits are, and why you feel that way.
From the terrifying fear of wind, we go to our next weather phobia. To many, they're soothing and serene, but to others, they can create a literal wave of anxiety. At number 9, the fear of waves.
Waves can be absolutely scary to a person because waves are a force of nature. And as we all know, you cannot control Mother Nature.
A wave is something that travels great distances, builds up over time, and when it gets to you, causes an enormous amount of damage.
Now, if there's a lot of energy in the ocean because there's a storm offshore, those waves can be stronger and they can be surprising. And that's how people die, because they don't understand that it's not just a normal day at the beach.
The fear gets worse on the open sea, where there's nowhere to hide.
For anybody who's spent any time on a boat, when you get in rough seas, when the waves kick up, even on a clear day, it's scary.
And then a giant rogue wave comes at you without warning.
The way we define a rogue wave is any wave that's twice as high as the average 1/3 of the highest waves. So if a forecast is for 30-foot waves, you can assume that somewhere within a big group of waves, there's going to be a 60-foot waves. And it sort of hits out of the blue.
We know those waves can be up near 100 feet. Matter of fact, the QE2 encountered one of those up to about 95 feet back in 1995.
Monster waves are also generated by hurricanes.
The largest wave from a hurricane, from a tropical system that we've actually measured was a 91-foot wave in the Gulf of Mexico during Hurricane Ivan back in September of 2004.
But the most frightening kind of wave comes from a completely different force of nature.
The biggest waves, though, that we see are from tsunamis, and that's basically from an underwater earthquake. And when these tsunami waves get closer to the coastline, in shallow water, they get much, much steeper.
And we know of one of those waves that was over 1,700 feet high. That happened in Alaska, not far from Juneau, when a big hunk of the mountain fell into a body of water and caused this incredible tsunami that happened in 1958.
With water covering about 70% of the Earth's surface and a third of the global population living within 60 miles of an oceanic coastline, it may be tough for a simophobiac to get away from the waves. But there is a way they can be used as a treatment.
Just as people can experience a significant anxiety with the ocean, people can find the ocean very calming and relaxing.
Psychologist Dominic Sportelli helps people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. He's also an avid surfer.
PTSD is a prolonged reaction to a traumatic event that lasts greater than a month. That's the official definition. People that experience PTSD have a generalized hyper-aroused state. They're always in a state of heightened awareness, and this causes depression, overall anxiety.
Sportelli believes in a form of therapy that uses ocean waves to help soldiers cope with PTSD and their combat injuries. It's called Operation Surf.
Here are soldiers that are used to experiencing an enormous amount of an adrenaline rush. That adrenaline rush is associated with negativity, with death and destruction and fear, maybe loss of loved ones and comrades and friends. Surfing requires an enormous amount of adrenaline, but it's in a positive way.
Operation Surf brings together veterans and experienced instructors for a week-long, life-changing healing experience.
There's no such thing as disabilities, you know. We're only different abilities. It takes away all the dramas of life.
Whenever I paddled out, when I was out in that ocean, I didn't feel any pain. If I'm stressed about something when I go surfing, I'll completely forget, and it changes your life.
As you learn to surf, what you realize is, in order to get better, you have to let go. And you have to work with the ocean, work with the power. And that letting go is a psychological release. And it's very, very therapeutic.
Coming up, more frightening weather phobias. Wait until you see what's next on our Top 10 Countdown.
It's always the ones that are ominous and dark and stormy. It's very, very scary, very intimidating.
And later, we enter a meteorological house of horrors.
I remember thinking, oh my gosh, where could I move to escape this? And then I realized there's nowhere to move.
So Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Safe discount?
Yep, using the app Driving Safe. You wanna go? You wanna go, bro? Hey, do not mess with my discount. Woo! You can save up to 30%. Let's go! Nice to meet you. Go get him, Tiger. Woo!
Sounds like you've got this.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save from State Farm.
Tornadoes can top 200 miles per hour, but even winds of 25 miles per hour can damage property. In severe windstorms, go to the basement or the middle of your home. You may lose power, so stay tuned to alerts with a battery-powered weather radio. State Farm, here to help life go right.
Good on you for sporting a look that moves without stretching your wallet. Now being comfortable is even easier with sport coats starting at $99.99, shirts and pants 3 for $99.99, plus our designer suit event starting at $149.99, only at Men's Warehouse.
Humira patients, you inspire us.
the way you triumph over adversity, and live your lives. That's why we redesigned Humira. We wanted to make the experience better for you. Now there's less pain immediately following injection. We've reduced the size of the needle and removed the citrate buffers. And it has the same effectiveness you know and trust. Humira Citrate Free is here. A little change can make a big difference.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your if you have an infection.
Ask your doctor about Humira Citrate Free. Here's to you.
Swifty's the name. And you're looking at the next lead dog for the Arctic Blast delivery service. And the one is you.
Swifty?
I think I'm pulling uphill. Are we uphill?